Well, hi folks. Hope you're well. A bit rushed today. Um, the topic. Well, have you ever met somebody called a self-flagellator? Yes, sounds like no, family show. Bit of a, bit of a tosser. Yeah, but people who deliberately hurt themselves. Yeah, I'm one of them, probably. But I try to mitigate that by cutting out other things in my life, like smoking. I don't smoke anymore. Thank God I don't smoke. I wish I'd never started, quite frankly. But one of the great books I ever read in my life um, was, I think it was Snow White and Deadly. It was all about sugar, the dangers of sugar, white cane sugar, particularly sugar as a molecule, quite frankly. Um, because the standard white teaspoonful of sugar, of course, it's a 50-50 mix of glucose and fructose. That's what sugar cubes are. So even though you think, oh, well, white sugar, yeah, I know it's not as good as brown sugar, it's terrible. So if I have sugar in anything I have now, I don't, but I buy big bags of glucose, which is it's strangely enough, it's a lot cheaper than sugar, pound for pound. I buy it by the sack. So if I have cornflakes, which I quite like, I always put a bit of the powdered glucose, and it's it's not as in your face as sugar, of course, but it takes the sting out of eating bland food like cornflakes. I'm just trying to avoid the sun. Excuse me. But self-flagellation. Well, it's almost like we're a bunch of masochists, isn't it? We are, for the most part, humans, if we're lucky, are born healthy, and then we spend most of their lives trying to find ways of shortening our life in many ways. And it's staggering because life is very precious, isn't it? And if you're lucky enough to be given a healthy body, the sad thing is that healthy people tend to abuse themselves far more than those people who are born ill. Because those people who are erring towards an early demise take great care of themselves most of the time. But what's infuriating for those type of people, of course, who are struggling to get through and think every day is a bonus, are the ones who are able bodies and born well, but we seem destined to want to be self-sacrificing. We're killing ourselves. And I'm not a great fan of sugar, because although I like sugar, I know it'll probably kill me more than anything else I do. Any other habit that I do in my life, vaping, is harmless compared to consuming sugar. And it's the same for you, by the way. If you consume Snow White and Deadly, whether it be a cube or a teaspoon, so bear that in mind next time you swamp your food with sugar. Because 50% of that sugar, the glucose, will be converted pretty much immediately into the muscles for energy, because it's a natural thing for our body to deal with. It doesn't get dealt with by the liver. It's straight in the bloodstream and wham, straight where it's needed. And that's why we have energy tablets like glucose, pure glucose energy tablets. You get them in the chemists of all places to get them. Dextrose, I think they're called. But the 50% that doesn't go for energy gets, well, the liver has no choice. It has to deal with it, and it stores it. And it stores it as fat. And that's why you see people walking around, certainly in America. Oh, wow, do you? It's the fat capital of the world. Of people, men and women, with huge bellies. They're big enough on the top, but the belly. Well, it's not the belly, is it? It's the liver that's just can't cope anymore. It has to ditch the fat somewhere. So you can tell the poor diets of the people that have a sweet tooth. But if you look at the food, people think a tin of Campbell's tomato soup. You think, well, that's quite a healthy little snack. I'll have that. Put it in a cup and drink it. Yeah, 4 teaspoonsful of sugar in Campbell's tomato soup. Who would have thought it? So it pays to read the label. The moment you see the word sugar, folks, remember the 50-50 rule. Okay? Half of the sugar content will be glucose, half of it will be sugar. And that sugar, the tasty bit, really, is going straight into your liver for processing and stored as fat. But I've been, fortunately, I've is there a fat gene? This is the big question. I don't think there is. You'd think so, wouldn't you? There must be he or she must have the fat bastard gene, the greedy guts gene. But when everything on the shelf in the shops where you shop has sugar in it, and you don't think it has, but how many people truly go and read all the labels on all the boxes? Cereal is full of sugar. Things that you wouldn't think contain sugar. It's like they've got all this sugar and they don't know what to do with it, so they shove it in everything, and then they complain that the general populace are fat. But it's quite deliberate. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is certainly a eugenics program going on. They don't want us living for that long, for Christ's sake. They put up this big pretense about being concerned for our health. Oh, really? That's why they whack in close on to 27 inoculations into the average American by the time they leave uni. 27? Oh, God, can you imagine the mercury and the other toxins floating around, the thymals going around the system? And it's going to hit them. It won't hit them in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, but maybe 20. They're ticking time bombs, inoculations. Okay? But they're killing us in so many ways. And people say I'm a nutter for thinking that the world has a conspiracy and a eugenics program. Well, look at the Georgia Guidestones if you don't think that's a reality, because somebody somewhere paid for that to happen. And we're not taking the blindest bit of notice. They're telling us this is the law of laws. Before they're going to commit slaughter, they must say they're going to slaughter you. Oh, yeah, look, Georgia Guidestones, some prat wrote them. No, they are deadly serious. And they're starting with America. And America in 10 years' time will be unrecognisable. There will be civil wars, there will be a mass breakdown, the petrodollar will collapse, you name it, in 10 short years. That's if there's a population left. But when I see people as a slimby who are clinically obese, they're sweating like opera singers. They wear baggy clothes. They have to. I mean, God bless them. I'm not having a go at fat people in the sense that I know a lot of lovely fat people. They are charming people. They're lovely. Their characters are lovely. Some of them, quite frankly, are miserable bastards. And I get it. I do get it. Why are they miserable? Well, I'd be bloody miserable if walking 10 yards I'd be panting and gasping for my breath, sweating like someone who's just coming off stage. Magazine waving. And it breaks my heart to see people in a restaurant or a burger bar. I don't go to burger bars, but when I did. Now, the other thing about fructose corn syrup, it doesn't register in the brain. Okay? The brain is still craving sugar. And we want the sweet taste and the fructose will give it to us. All right, it'll give us a sweet taste. And we always find that people eat more in McDonald's. The kids will always eat a McDonald's or a Burger King or the like, won't they? Why don't you eat like that at home? God, another burger? You want another one, Jimmy? Yeah, Mum, I'm still hungry. Still hungry, still hungry. Because the food is designed not to satiate hunger. And it is the brain who initiates the satiation process. But if the food contains an additive that you're enjoying so much, the food industry, want to get as much in you, profit, out of you, as you can consume. And they don't want your brain to say enough is enough. And the number of kids that come out absolutely bloated out of a McDonald's birthday party, I can't think of anything worse than giving my kids a McDonald's birthday party. It's cruel, isn't it, really? And the kids love it. And that should be a red flag. Hang on a minute, all the drinks have got sugar in them. All the food's got fructose, corn syrup in it, which is technically a sugar. It's a fructose that doesn't get registered in the brain. It goes straight down to the liver. And I want to say to these people, are you not fed up yet of being embarrassed about your size? Are you not fed up with sweating and having to use deodorant, if only? Wouldn't it be nice just to be your height-weight ratio? Wouldn't it be nice? But the sad thing is, some of these people said, well, my mum was fat, my dad was fat. It was inherent, and it's not inherent. The propensity to put weight on is not inherent in us. Okay? I have or had 4 brothers. Not one of us is overweight. Not one. Okay? And I tell you what, the chances of going to America where you can get a large family of kids, okay, almost guaranteed, if the parents are fat, the children are fat. Guaranteed. And certainly more than one of the children is fat and clinically obese or obese. But it's not their fault, folks. We mustn't pick on these people. It is not their fault. They've been had. They were had at hello the moment they walked into that shop and looked at the plethora, the choices available. But even on foods that you wouldn't think contain sugar, have sugar and fructose in them. They get lashings and lashings. They love their pancakes for breakfast, and yeah, man, squirt this sweet stuff. Sweet Tooth America, oh yeah, and look what it's done. But I do, even in UK, I walk down the streets and I see these lard asses walking around, and I don't know whether to cry or laugh, to be honest with you. And they want people to feel sorry for them. Or wherever they sit next to you, don't they? You know what I mean? I always get these sat on aeroplanes as well. I can guarantee, I can sit on an aeroplane, and even if it's a window seat, which I'm lucky, I ask for them, I get Mr. Lardass, thump, right in the middle, and I think, oh Christ, I'm like this. Oh, give it a break, mate. And they're unapologetic. And they rock around in their chair trying to get them. And the whole bloody thing is shaking. I think, hang on. Maybe I just got to wait for the tide to come in. Do you know what I mean? Am I a fattest? Well, I don't know. I just think it's a national disgrace. But I think we should blame the food industry. There was a court case that was quite well received, and the guy won, that sued a tobacco industry for causing his lung cancer, and he won it. Okay. So why can't we sue the food industry for our obesity? It's their fault. They supplied me with the facility to eat that. and I consumed it, and it made me fat. And it's addictive as hell. So shouldn't Nabisco and all the other manufacturers that put excess sugar and unnecessary sugar, a lot of this stuff is unnecessary, but it is so addictive, sugar. They want you addicted to their products. So they're technically, the food industry, are drug pushers. And they do it surreptitiously, so straight under, not even our attention span. But become your guardian angel of your family. And just read the food labels. And you'll be surprised. You'll see fructose, corn syrup, glucose, sugar. 3 or 4 items, but they're all sugar. Okay? They're all one form of sugar. Well, they're technically 2. There's glucose, a class of its own, and doesn't do you any damage. But fructose, corn syrup, and sugar. Oh, baby. Out. And the other things, of course, is artificial sweeteners. The other ones for people who say, well, I eat like a pig, but I don't have sugar in my tea. I get a sweet eggs. Every little helps. Yeah, but it's the saccharin is the same as aspartame. Same. That's a mental suppressant. So you're probably, in that case, better off having the sugar. Because once you damage your brain, there's no going back. At least you can lose weight if you've eaten too much sugar, but you can't get the effects of the terrible, terrible effects of artificial sweeteners out of you once you've done the damage. It's a neurotoxin, folks. It kills your nerves. Aspartame, sucrose, and all the other artificial sweeteners, Sweetex, Classic. It's all coming from the one product that was not allowed by the FDA for several years. And just to let you know, if it's going to turn your tummy, that artificial sweetener was discovered in a lab where they had bacteria, and the sweetener is actually the shit, literally the shit of bacteria. It's a byproduct of bacteria's digestion, and the bacteria shit it out, and it's very sweet, hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, and it's bacteria shit. So they process this bacteria shit, technically, and pulverize it and make a powder out of it, and they compress the powder and make Sweetex. So by having Sweetex and aspartame and all the other shit, the neurotoxins, literally the shit, that is actually a result of bacteria shit. Okay? Hope you like it. Thank you, Donald Rumsfeld, because he was the shyster that got it through the FDA. FDA turned it down several times, saying it was dangerous stuff, a neurotoxin. They know. But then when Donald left the labs and became head of the FDA, suddenly it was allowed to happen. Well, who was a major shareholder of the company? Donald. Call me old-fashioned, but I can smell a rat. So the whole thing is, eating too much sugar is worse for you than smoking. How's about that then? You've got more chance of dying of a stroke and a fat embolism by being clinically obese or obese. You've got less chance of dying as a result of smoking than you have of being clinically obese because you just bloody eat too much and you don't stop this nonsense with sugar. On top of that, type 2 diabetes is on the rise. More people are walking around as type 2s, having a terrible life without realising they're type 2 diabetics. Probably are type 1, but God knows how they get away with not using their insulin or not needing insulin. But the liver is crying out, and these are the big beer guts on people with t-shirts, and more often than not, I find that in America, if you look around, and certainly in the UK now as well, black-skinned women on the whole, are far fatter, and men now. Black people have a propensity to be fat. Yet they live in the UK, they have access to the same food. Yeah, but it seems to be the white people are obviously trying to catch up now. It's almost insane to be normal. The normals become the abnormal. Isn't that a state of affairs that we find ourselves in now? But I want to slap them stupid. You know, you get a young girl who's evidently obese and you say, you know, she's looking through the fashion mags, if only my bingo wings, and it's not funny, it's sad. But you say, do you know you can do something about it? Such beauty. Yeah, well, I am beautiful. I know you are, but let's see more of you by seeing less of you. Let's see the beauty shine through, because people are so... Just because they're fat doesn't mean they're ugly. It's the fat that's ugly. It's not their nature that's ugly. They're just miserable because they're fat and tired and slothsome. There's a whole science behind all this. We could go on for hours about it, but I wanted to point out that it's so important to guard against eating in your life too much sugar. It is a snow white and deadly, oh for sure. And it is so easy to substitute for the healthy stuff called glucose. Buy bags of it on eBay, bags of glucose powder. Your body will love you, your liver will love you, your blood and your energy levels will be spot on. It truly is. Replace sugar in your house with powdered glucose. And you'll find that you'll be able to think clearer, you won't be so foggy, you certainly will lose weight because you'll burn it up providing you exercise and do your normal thing, and your liver will be loving you to bits. It'll last you. The amazing thing about the liver, it has the ability to heal itself. If you damage a liver and cut a third of the liver off with a knife, trust me, a majority of it will grow back again. It's the only organ you can get away with doing that. A man can give, or a woman can donate half of their liver and give it to their child as a transplant. They truly can, without any ill effects, because your donor's liver will grow back to pretty much its former self. It's self-repairing. It is that important. And one of the most, well, the biggest organ in the body, well, skin, but the next one is liver. It's so busy, and we just ignore it, don't we? Until we get gallstones. Oh yes, cholecystitis. We suddenly turn yellow with bad tummy ache, or oh, it's right under my right rib, doctor. It's killing every time I eat fatty foods because the gall bag emulsifies fats. That's what the bile does, and it's stuck. It's got a stone in it, so you end up having to have a cholecystectomy, removal of the gallbladder. Then it's too late. But the people who have such gallstones, guess what? Majority of them are porkers. Oh yeah, baby. They're fatties. I tell you folks, it's a bloody minefield every time we go shopping. But I've said before in previous videos, go into your kitchen and throw everything out that contains Snow White and Deadly and vegetable oils. Get rid of the white sugars. Okay, anything sugar, out. And just stick to using powdered glucose for your sweetening tooth. Okay, get used to it. No more fizzy pops that contain fructose corn syrup. You know, whatever, if it's got the word sugar on it, remember the 50-50 rule. There's always going to be fructose in it. And fructose goes straight to your liver. And don't be too sympathetic with those who simply won't take advice. But hey, you can give advice, but they don't have to take it, do they? Like people who join Weight Watchers. Eh? They never seem to. There's such a rarity for somebody to reach their target rate. It's a big celebration. But if they cut out vegetable oils, that's all they have to do. Cut out vegetable oils and trans fats and live off animal fats. They could eat as much as they want and they won't get fat, you know. Because it's not the animal fats that make human beings fat. It's the vegetables, oils that we cook our food in. It's not the food per se. It's what you cook it in that is doing people in. Okay? Remember that. It's not the food you eat that makes you fat. Unless it's sugar, fructose corn syrup. Yes? Or what you cook your food in. Or put on your food as a dressing. Like, yes, salad dressing, vegetable oil. Those three things I've just said. Get them out of your life and you'll lose weight. You won't have to go on a diet. You just change your eating habits. That can't be so hard. You can stuff yourself with anything you like. Dairy. Why not? So long as it hasn't got sugar and you don't cook your dairy, your meat, your protein that you need. As long as you cook that in lard, animal fats. It can be goose fat. It doesn't matter. Look, folks, we are carnivores. Leave the vegetables to those who've got an appendix about that long that can digest. And these people who eat salads, it's only the trace elements you want out of the salads. It's good for our digestion. So try and remember that when you go to your family. Go and get rid of the sugar for a start. And if you can't bear your beverages without sugar, just go and buy powdered glucose off the internet. And watch, because you're going to have to go and buy some new trousers and a smaller skirt, because the weight will just come off those. Hey, if you take the C off chips, what have you got? Hips. That's what you got. Take the C off chips, you got hips. You'll get hips when you take sugar out of your diet and replace it with fructose. Did I say fructose? Surely a Freudian slip. Replace it with glucose. Just getting tired. Time for a sugar lump. Not. Catch you tomorrow and look out for those fatties. Give them the advice they at least deserve to be told. Bit like lambs to the slaughter, but many of them just simply carry on anyway. So are we flapping our gums for nothing? Well, most of the time, yes. Catch you tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.